here, and voila. Well, good evening, and good afternoon, good evening, all those good things that go along with it. Hope you all are having a great day. Hope you had a great day. And there's only one way to end your day. On a Wednesday, there's only one way to end your day, and that is to come here and hang out with us for 1 hour for only one truth. Only one truth. It's only one truth, and we're here to tell it. Make sure that you be a part of the conversation. Let me get the number going across. But while I'm getting that number going across the screen, I got to say this young lady right here. This young lady, I got to say, what's your name, young lady, and where you hailing from?
Sharon Gaylord. I'm hailing from Columbia, South Carolina.
See, I almost forgot where you, Lord Jesus, y'all. It sounds as though you almost forgot where you're from there for a second there now. Sound like you forgot where you was from. Rico,
Yo,
what's going on, Captain?
not much, man. How everybody doing this evening?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Tell everybody who you are, brother, and where you hailing from.
Rico Jackson, hailing from Anniston, Alabama.
Alabama, yes, sir. We got a topic we're going to talk about today. We're here with you for 1 hour, so I want you to share the broadcast, and if you get an opportunity, make sure you share the broadcast. We're going to talk about that's not my luggage. That's no longer my luggage. And what we're talking about today is stuff that we carry, stuff that we hold on to, stuff that we should have put down a long time ago. And we hold on to it and we carry it like when you buy luggage. You keep luggage forever until it wear out and break down or whatever, until you're able to go out there and get some more. But that's no longer my luggage, Sharon. How do we know to put it down?
Sometimes it's really difficult to put it down. It all depends on what the situation is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you try to reach out and you try to help people, and you take on other people's stresses, trying to take and help them get to where they need to get to, and sometimes you forsake yourself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So truly, just depends on the situation for me, because I know that I'm a giving person. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I have a very caring heart, and because of that, sometimes I will put others before me to give them what they need, and
Mm-hmm.
then forsake myself in the process.
So do you think is good? Because people a lot of time people tell you as you're growing up, people say don't be selfish, don't be selfish. Sometimes is it good to just be a little selfish?
Yeah, I guess sometimes I'm just not a selfish person, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not for me. I try to find the good in everybody. People tell me that all the time. I look for the good in everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to help everybody. I kid
Mm-hmm.
around a lot, but yeah, when it comes to situations and people's lives and people's feelings, I have a very, um, I'm a softie in some
Mm-hmm.
situations, so I
Mm-hmm.
always try to help people out when I can,
That's
and even
good.
when
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. Rico, what do you say about that, man? That's no longer my luggage. That's no longer my luggage, man. How do we know when to put something down and walk away from it, or do we just hold, or do we sometimes hold on to it too long?
All of the above. I mean, some people don't hold on to it at all because they don't like to put that energy into it, or they don't like to waste that time towards that energy. But it really depends on it depends on the person, and it depends on what the luggage is, on what type of effect it had on you. You
Mm-hmm.
have some people, they can let small things roll off their shoulders, but then when you cross a certain line, they go to a certain extreme. And when they go to that certain extreme, you might have pushed a button that they might not be able to come back from. They might not forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, I got codes and principles that I live by, and
Mm-hmm.
and expectations that I demand from other people, which is a
Mm-hmm.
mutual respect, a mutual consideration, and being mindful of other people. I like to share, and I'm an unselfish person too, like sharing. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I don't like to be used. I don't like to be played. I don't like nobody to take my kindness for weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like for somebody to ask to borrow something, and then I actually might have went out of my way and let them borrow it, and I needed it. at that
Mm-hmm.
point in time. You know, at those times, that's when you need to be selfish. If you can't afford to take a loss, then don't risk it. But if you can
Mm-hmm.
afford to let somebody borrow something and they happen to not bring it back, that's okay. If you know, okay, I already expected them not to. The only reason I let them borrow that is because I knew they wouldn't come back. It was a possibility. But it
Mm-hmm.
depends on you, where you stand and as far as morals and honor go. Me, I'm big on principles. I
Yeah.
wouldn't care if you could get me for $5 or $5 million. If I knew what your intent was to make me look like a fool, we might have a problem 10 or 20 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, Sharon, we talked about that and holding on to it. As a matter of fact, let's go back here. Let's talk about my grandmother told me all the time, boy, don't never loan nobody something that you can't afford to lose. If you can't afford to lose it, don't loan it to them, because you have your right. You're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for the right reason. You're giving it to them for the right reason, thinking that they're gonna come back and give it back to you and have the same honor and respect that you have. But sometimes people just don't. Sometimes people just don't. So what do you say to that?
I mean, I agree with your grandma. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't afford to lose it,
Oh, look.
if I stand up,
Oh, oh.
if I'm gonna loan it to you, or if I'm gonna give it to you, when you ask me for a loan, then
Mm-hmm.
I give it to you with the expectations of getting it back. But for some
Yeah.
people, I know that I'm not going to get it back. So I
Mm-hmm.
would never take food off my table to give it to certain individuals, because I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm not going to get it back. But if I give it to you, then I know that if you don't give it back to me, I'm okay. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
put myself in a bad situation for it, in order to help you out. But if I can, I will. But it's just certain people that I'll just say, hey, I ain't got it,
Yeah.
because I know you're not going to give it back. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn that after getting burned a few times. I had to learn how to take and deal with people. And like Mama say, treat them with a long handled spoon when it comes to certain situations.
Exactly. Exactly. We got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, DKM, and Raheem, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on? That
It's DT
VP.
out of Connecticut.
Hey, man, what's going on with you?
Nothing much.
Good deal. We're talking about today. We're talking about today is that's no longer my luggage, and we're coming from an angle whereas we people sometimes hold on to stuff too long, and they don't know how to walk away, and they don't know how to put it down and separate themselves, if you will. VP, does that happen? Have that ever happened to you, whereas you just held on to something too long and you know that it wasn't good for you?
Are you in my back pocket? No, man.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
I'm sure this is a story of many people's lives. The problem is most people don't want to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to let everybody know that they done held on to something too long and they just need to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest part about that in life is you don't want to face yourself to say, you know what, this ain't good for me. And although I've seen the signals, the signs, and everything, the premonitions that told me this ain't where I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason you keep carrying on.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I did it a lot. And the easiest way to take this is relationships.
Okay.
That's always the easiest road to say, you know what, maybe I should let that go. Then I knew the signs, I seen what was wrong. But in general, the real problem is how much have you said that I can't let this go?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Rico probably. I was on the live, but I don't know where that invitation came from. So I was trying to get on the feed with you, but
I'll send it to you right now. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll send it to you.
But I could see where people won't look in the menu, or not the menu, the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and say, you know what, it's you who's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you trying to blame it on everybody else and trying to blame it on the world? It's you who takes this acceptance. It's you
Mm-hmm.
that allows this same burden, these same luggages that even though you go to a new step, you keep dragging it back. It's like, you know how you go to the airport, you got the wheelies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, in our time, we used to carry luggage. Wasn't no wheels on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't want to carry too much luggage. The weight too much. So you pack only because you didn't want to carry it. But as the world convinced you that, you know what, it's, we'll lessen the fees, we'll make it easier for you, we'll make not 2 wheels but 4 wheels for you to keep carrying this more and more.
Mm-hmm.
We got easier and let these pains and these problems be what we are.
Mm-hmm.
So the real issue is, what are you allowing?
Mm-hmm. Now, Sharon,
what are you accepting?
Exactly. Now, Sharon, let me ask you this question. How often is it that we do that very thing? We know that it's not right. We know that we need to walk away from it. We know that it's no longer good for us, but we still hold on to it, and we still let this friend come around that is toxic, and we
Some
still
of
try.
us do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of us live with it daily.
Mm-hmm.
It's and like you said, it's you have to choose to let go. And in relationships, sometimes it's hard to take and do that, and then some for others, it's not that hard. It all depends on the circumstances of the relationship. What you feel to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to gather it up and make a decision. But it's hard sometimes making that decision because you may be in love with that person, you don't want to let it go, or you might be scared to step out on your own. You might have kids you don't want to raise by yourself. Some people want a 2-parent home. Some people don't really care. But I mean, I think people hold on to baggage longer than they should in many different circumstances of life, not just a relationship, with jobs, with friends, everything. It's really what you choose to, what you want for your life, what you gonna do with you.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Rico, Pastor Tina Turner said it best. What's love got to do with it? And when you're hurting and you're in pain and you know that it's not good for you. I mean, you in love, quote unquote, in love. But what's love got to do with it, man? When it's hurting you, it's destroying you, almost killing you.
I don't think love has anything to do with it. That's a personality trait where a person hates to fail,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they invested time into something or they had their mind set on this is going to be my relationship, this is going to be my future husband, and I broadcasted it to the public. All of
Mm-hmm.
society know that this is who I've dedicated myself to. Now, all of a sudden, I find out not only is he a fool, but he a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and at the same time, I probably knew he was a cheater and a challenge from the very beginning. But once I made up my mind to let it be known that this is who I was going to lock myself in with, I don't want to be made a fool out of. I don't want to fail. I don't want people to look at me and be like, he played her too. She played him too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it work. I don't want to lose to the other woman or the other man. I don't want to look like I made a bad decision or that I'm terrible with choices.
Get rid
So
of
it's
the
an
red is
ego
false, the
thing.
green is good.
Yeah, people. Somebody got some extra speakers on or something.
Hey, VP,
Yeah.
hang up the phone line, VP. Okay.
And then you have people that don't. I mean, it's all about emotions. So people that lack attention, and so now they get their feelings hurt easily by people that they look up to or crowds that they want to fit in. People that hold grudges. Like I said, I like to win. I don't like to lose. I don't like to be wrong. And not to the point where I have a problem with you, but I don't like to be made a fool of. And so it's a lot of times that I have grudges right now that's been hanging around for 30 years.
Wow.
Some lines that people cross that it ain't no coming back from that. So I mean, it could be an ego thing. Like I said, not want to let go of grudges, not want to let go of your glory days. Sometimes you got to let them glory days go too. Them good old days when you was out here doing your 2 Live crew and you was selling all your crack and running through all these women. It was a bad, that was a negative time in your life. But at the same time, we sure had it going on at Freaknik. Ooh, man, I miss them Freaknik days. You know what I'm saying? I miss Black Bite Week. And so you start thinking about that. And what it is I'm almost 50 years old. I'll never be able to experience another Freaknik. If I did go to Black Bite Week, it would never amount to what it was when I was in my late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna want to let that go because I might feel like I still got it.
Got a heart attack. VP was man, look at you going to hang out them young folk, boy. You looking at think better, let it go. VP, what's on your heart, brother?
I was caught. I mean, I was caught off guard. I'm surprised to keep getting invited back. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Only one truth. That's the topic.
Yes, no. That's the name of the show. Only one truth. We're talking about the we're talking about the luggage. How do you know when to put the luggage down, man? It's no longer. It actually is no longer my luggage. I'm putting it down. This stuff that you carry and the stuff that you have been carrying for a long time. The toxic people, these toxic situations. You putting all that stuff down, man. You no longer want it to be in your life. What do you say to that? Rico smiling. He got something going on over there. I don't know what he got going on over there, bro. Hey, look here. Y'all see him, but BP, talk to me.
I don't want to be called preacher, so I'm trying not to do it in a preacher manner.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'll step in on you in a minute.
This is one of them topics that it's easy to talk about, but it's hard to manifest and actually go through with. I have on testimony, just off me, I've learned in 38 years of life, I know I have 30 years of baggage. How do you get rid of 30 years of baggage and not think it's a treasure? How do you not feel like what you've been carrying around is what is supposed to make you who you are? You identify with a lot of your trash. At one point when I was fasting, and that's a hard word for me to say, I ain't gonna lie to you. But during a fast, I learned God said to me, it's time to get rid of your trash. And I was teaching my son, you know what, because he's afraid of spiders and bugs and this. So I was teaching him, you gotta get rid of the trash under your bed. You got to do this and this and that. And at the same point, he was teaching me, he was like, all right, get rid of everything that you don't want under your bed. A lot of us like to identify trash as the only things that we see with our eyes and everybody else can see. But how much are you putting underneath your bed? And then when you say to yourself, I'm going to clear my bed out and I'm going to take this bag to the trash, how many other people are opening it up and bringing it back? And you know what's amazing about that journey that I did is I brought back a battery for a camera. Only to find out that the battery was obsolete and it was no longer useful.
Yes.
To be told, you know what, that's trash. I don't need it. How many times are we ignoring people that's telling us that's trash? It is no good for you, but yet you can't let go of it. That's a harder lesson to learn.
That goes back to one of the things that Rico said earlier, man. We hold on to it too much. Sharon, let me hear what's on your heart, Sister Rico. I'm coming to you. I know you got something going on because you was laughing too hard not to, brother. But Sharon, what's on your heart?
I mean, I'm enjoying listening to VP talk because he's speaking the truth on this one. I mean, really, it is hard sometimes to let go of some of the things in your life that you need to let go of, but you're afraid to let go of it for whatever reason. But, I think that it comes a time in life when you have to take and step out on faith and do what you got to do. I mean, I had to learn that for myself. It was a time to let go, and I did what I had to do in order for me to have my own peace of mind and to keep that peace of mind. So it's really up to the individual and what you want.
Rico, how can one find that peace in that traumatic situation, knowing that this person, that you almost cry yourself to sleep every night, man, because the person that's treated you so bad, situations that's treated you so bad. How do you find your peace?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's really hard to say because that's another one that really depends on the person. Everybody has different levels of temperance. You know what I'm saying? And you can calm some people down or get them to think logically, while others, they might just be stuck. They have that OCD. If somebody got OCD, imagine them trying to get rid of some luggage. Imagine them trying to get rid of some old mail or some old memories, the glory days. And see, like, I'm OCD. That's why I say I know that I can really identify with this because of the fact that I have grudges right now that I can sit back and think of stuff that I saw when I was 4 or 5 years old, that I was I felt so disrespected that when I see these old people today, I still get that same animosity in my heart. I have to realize, man, that was a long time ago. Let that go, but it still didn't take away from the fact of the disrespect or whatever it was. I didn't agree with. But you know, it's all about, you know, being able to understand. Okay, man, this is holding me back. See, if you know it's holding you back, or it's affecting you as the way you carry yourself, then you know that's when you start working on trying to fix those issues. You know, like me being celibate, prime example. You know, I wouldn't never really supposed to be promiscuous. That wasn't never really in my heart to be that way. But at the same time, it made me feel a certain way. It gave me a certain image. You know, and the reason why I started laughing, because you know how sometimes you could build up that image. I wanted that street image, that street credibility. So I grew my hair, and I grew my hair longer than anybody. You had braids, I wanted my braids to be longer than yours. If you had a gold chain, I wanted my gold chain to cover yours up. I had one big enough that Tupac would have wanted it. Matter of fact, I went and got two of them. I got one bigger than everybody else's, and then one bigger than that one, just in case you want to catch up. And ego thing. Some, you know, in some ways, people are using that to uplift themselves. But I think about when I had those braids and the attention that I got, the amount of women that wanted to just do my hair, that was an icebreaker. You know, they had other intentions just like me, but that was a good reason for them to say, hey, I'd like to do your hair. So I had all these different women doing my hair, and I already knew once they did my hair what was gonna happen next. So, you know, I was like, man, you know, I got an image. I got a reputation. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm known for. And it took me forever to finally let them braids go. I mean, look, when I tell you that I should have let them braids go maybe 7 or 8 years before then, man, I had a little piece of hair right there, a bald spot, there's a mole hair. So what I did, I had my baby mama, man. I had my baby mama going and braiding weave up in there to try to fill it in before it started getting too thin. I mean, it was real thin up there, man. But I didn't want to let that. I didn't want to let that length go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let that access to women and that attention that women gave me for having such long, pretty hair go. Because I knew I was going to change. It was going to change, and it was hard for me to adjust. But that was one of the things why you can't let go of your luggage, because people are afraid of change.
Hey, Rico, let me ask you this question. Do you think that it possibly became, or you allowed it to become a part of your identity?
That's what I mean, my image. That's what I said. That was the image I had built. And that image was unique, and it stood out. When I walked in the room, people knew, there go Rico. And so, you know, when you become known, you leave your trademark. You know what I'm saying? You make a statement, and then it's hard 20 or 30 years later for you to lose that. If you was a bully and you were known for whipping people, when you're 50 years old, you still might have that in you to think that people are going to be intimidated. You see so many bullies when they get 40, 50 years old getting whooped by these young boys. Because they thought they still had it.
Yeah. I would hate to see Mike Tyson at this age going in the ring with a 22-year-old, thinking he's gonna knock that 22-year. And you know, maybe he can, but the likelihood is a risk. It's a risk now. But when he was 22 years old, man, you know, he walked in the ring and he beat people just because of the fact he walked in the ring, because he had that image about himself. There's the image. VP, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
My son, So last night, men being men, I told you guys that VP was known as the drinker.
Yeah,
drink you under the table with no hesitation. White, brown, yellow, gold. You brought it to me, I was gonna do it to you. That's a false identification of feeling that's who you need to be when you got to let go of something to grow into something greater. It is hard. I'm not, I like being, I don't know what it is about you, Raheem, but you make me tell the truth. It's hard for me, even in these days, to not be that person as a solo man. And I was shocked when you hit me on this. I was about to go down the tunnel, and I was like, oh, I got another invitation. Let me jump on this, because that's where it has to be calling me that way, not to want to jump on and grab that bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get that once you understand God's grace and the glory He has for you in your life, you I'm sorry that
It's
you have you it's an understanding that you have to stop sedating yourself, or you have to stop putting yourself in a cocoon and
mm-hmm.
never want to be the butterfly God tells you to be, in a very basic metaphoric way. You
Exactly.
have to want to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and it only takes you wanting to be that person to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, that's the first time I ever met her. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This she was saying earlier, it's hard
Mm-hmm.
because people don't want to identify with the issues they have and let those things go. I have, even with my marriage and my relationship before, it'll call you to the streets, always calling, like the memes say and the TikTok say. The
Yes,
streets
sir.
always calling.
Yes, sir.
When
Mm-hmm.
at what point do you say I ain't gonna answer it?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you say, you know what, I'm better than the streets? And you know what, whatever it is out there for me, in my heart of hearts, not what my mind thinks, but in my heart of hearts, when am I going to answer this call and be something greater?
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with people is they can't see it. We're in a generation of people who want to see the progress. So I want, you see people going to the Maldives, and you see people on vacations, you see people getting these cars, and you see people on these vacations. But but when you don't see it, you get
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, and then you end up staying where you are. That the faith is lost.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have
Stagnated.
the faith.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, Sharon, let's talk about what a person is walking or living in a false sense of happiness. They think they're happy, but they're just carrying that old luggage. And like one of the gentlemen said earlier, I think it was VP that said it. Um, you're the only one that can't see. You're the only one that can't see. Everybody else, and I think it might have been Rico that said it. Everybody else is seeing what's going on with you. Everybody else seeing how you're being treated and mistreated. But you're the only one that can't see it because you're living in a false sense of happiness. What do you say to that?
Truly, I don't think that the person can't see it. I think the
Mm-hmm.
person don't want to admit it to themselves.
Mm. Mm.
I think that, once they, even though they see it and they see it happening and everybody else see it, they just don't want to go that route because of fear, not
Mm-hmm.
having enough faith in themselves, not wanting to take that walk alone because they're not sure of what's going to be on the other side when they get there. So
Mm.
therefore, I think they hold on to something because of the false identity that they have within themselves. And truly, I think that people have to look further and look deep within themselves to see, is this truly the life for me? Even though you know that it's not what you need, it shouldn't be what you want, but they're scared to take that step. I can
Mm.
say that because I have been one of those persons
Wow.
before. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to get out there and do what you know that you need to get done. But once you get out there and you feel that sense of freedom, you ask yourself, why in the heck did I stick here this long?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Rico, how does one find that confidence to take that step? How does one find that?
Mainly, it really helps when you start finding success or happiness and doing that that different thing when you after you let that luggage go. I like what Sarah said, because that sort of goes back to what I was saying earlier about people being afraid of change or the unexpected. So they hang on to what's familiar, whether it's negative or positive. But when you go through that change and see that even though you didn't know what was going to happen, it didn't hurt to take a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Something good came out of it. Then that helps you to begin to be more confident, because you'll go out and you'll step out on a limb. You'll let that old calling card that you made for yourself go out the door. I can relate to this. Like I said, man, like what Sharon was saying earlier. I can remember a point in time. Well, I put it to you this way: the person that I ended up being, I'll say the last 29, 30 years was not the person I should have been. If I
Mm-hmm.
had stayed on the path of who I truly should have been, I would have still been considered a square. But I think what happened is that society changed. You know, when I was very young, it didn't really take a whole lot to get recognized or get attention or always get asked to do something first, because it just came natural. I didn't have to do it make a big effort. But then as times changed, and standards changed, I changed, because I started having to do more to start being appreciated, respected, accepted, recognized. And in the process of that, I started adapting and conforming to different behaviors and mindsets, ideologies that really wasn't on the path that I should have been on. So for me to get the same attention that I got when I was younger, I had to go and start doing extreme things that really wasn't in my nature. And in the process of that, once you open up Pandora's box, that's almost like opening up Pandora's box. Once you open it up and you start the drinking, like what BP said, when you start the drinking, when you start the smoking, when you start womanizing, when you start not caring about how people feel, or when you know that deep down inside you don't like to hurt people's feelings, but all of a sudden now you get comfortable with sleeping with women on a one-night stand and then ignoring their phone calls. Getting up and leaving before they even get their clothes pulled up and get cleaned up. They go to the restroom and clean up and you gone. They don't hear from you no more. Just saying whatever you need to do, what you want to say to get what you need out of people. And really and truly, you know that's not you. But sometimes we do conform, you know, man, pressure, peer pressure.
Yes, sir.
Peer pressure and society standards, man. I mean, you know, trends, all of that is something serious fitting in. But you know, if I had to give anybody advice at a young age right now, I would tell them, man, you know, because I tell people this all the time right now: walk your path, stay in your path. Whatever it is that's meant for you is what's going to make you better. If you start trying to do or be what somebody else is, you're trying to live somebody else's vision, it ain't going to work out for you. And don't get me wrong, I was a good thug. I was a good dope deal. I looked the part very well. It benefited me. And as far as getting the women and the money, it benefited me. But at the same time, the reputation that I built is not the reputation that I want now.
Exactly. It's hard to put it down. It's hard to put it down. BP, how often and you say with the drinking, with you was the drinking, how much of that was what you really wanted to do, or you were just trying to be a chameleon in your surroundings, blend into your surroundings? How much of it was that?
Okay, I like the question. That was a good one. The I definitely wasn't a chameleon. I think that's generational. I think that's why I became VP, the guy that, you know, well, it was Pat. It was Fat Pat then, because I was almost 300 pounds then.
Okay.
But in military, I grew up. I think people ignore your generational things. So drinking for me was easy, not because and don't get me wrong, my folks didn't drink in front of us. It was one of those, it's grown folks' time. Get your butt upstairs, and we'll come back and get you. But that doesn't mean that your DNA don't get changed, or the enemy or the demons in you don't jump on you. So I had that. Like, it wasn't that was me. Don't get me wrong. That's who I identified as. So once I met Shay a Friday, then I realized, oh, not all families are like this. I was like, oh, you don't drink? But when I met her, she was who I thought I was. And then once she got out the military, I was like, oh, so you facaded me? And that's where the problem came. Because while you were away from your family, you were another person. But when you came back home, because we were overseas.
Yeah.
So when you came back home, now you don't want to do that no more. And that's the whole reason I got with you, is because I thought this is what we is. And that's where the yin and yang comes. After a few years of back and forwards, I realized people get together. God puts people together to show you that's not all of life.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I enjoyed it, and that's what, but I enjoyed that. Once we started to get away from the military more and more, I realized that's not how life really is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a uncomfortable level to drop yourself to, because people don't, they don't. You'd be surprised how many people are out there. But as you get older, as Rico was saying, as you get older, you start to realize not more and more people keep that going.
Yeah.
And it's a low number of people who actually keep doing that. Even in relationships, it's a low number. As the older you get, it's a lower number of people who want to be a player. And you start to realize, you know what? The physical manifestation of, or the sexual game that goes into it, you don't want that. You want the comfortability. You want to have somebody you come home to and you know they ain't in the streets messing around with nobody. They ain't texting nobody behind your back.
Yeah.
You just want to be happy. And that's a hard concept when you don't want to change.
Exactly. Sharon, talk to me from a young lady's standpoint, from a young lady's viewpoint. We don't have that. Educate us on it. What is it? What does it look like?
I mean, I agree. Women, we look at it differently. We pretty much we want the same things that you all want, but we just look at a different way of getting it. So, with that being said, I just think that when it comes to people really trying to find themselves, sometimes it's like you're fighting your own demons, trying to get your life where you need your life to be, but afraid to get there. So I think that when people actually take on that challenge of doing what's best for them, then things seem to change. It may be a hard road in the initial, but just knowing that you're able to do it for yourself and you're not putting everybody else in front of you in order for you to get it, I think that's a big achievement in yourself, and things will start to look better and look up once you give yourself what you need so you can get to where you need to get to.
That's good. That's good. Rico, that's no longer my luggage. That's no longer my luggage. And you want to get rid of that luggage. You want to get rid of it. But how painful is it if you had to take that luggage, open it up on the bed, and unpack it? How much pain could that be?
It depends on what you did.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you did. I mean, you might want to do some apologizing to people for things you did in the past. To this day, I have people that call me and apologize for things that they did or things that they said that I didn't even know about, ways that they felt. Man, I got to go ahead and tell you, man, I feel bad, man. I had you pay it wrong. And I know then, they not only was it some hate involved, but it was probably extreme. Ain't no telling how deep it was with the things that they said or what they did because of the way they felt about it. So it's the same with the person that's unloading it. Me personally, if I was in that situation, it really would depend on what I did. It's funny. I caught myself earlier sort of thinking about different times that I let the atmosphere dictate to me how to treat people. And at times that even though I wasn't really what you call going for bad, I did bully people at times. Different times that I remember in elementary school just beating up somebody because somebody else told me to do it. And it really makes me think of this. How like sometimes we could be sort of sheltered. And then when we get out here into the real world and we start getting interested in women, or women start getting interested in men, or boys and girls, I'm gonna start at a younger age. You start hearing, well, this is what you got to do to get their attention. This is what you need to wear. This is the cologne or perfume you need to put on. You should do your hair like this. Man, you need to get these shoes. You need to do. So we start trying to find all these ways and getting all this advice on how to fit in with what society is doing, and that is the mating thing. We find a way to build our calling card. Once again, I'm gonna bring that up again, that calling card. I think that's what VP was hitting on when he said that about being a drinker. We all want to be recognized, so we leave a calling card. When you hear my name, you're gonna associate me with this. And so, that in that process, if you want to go for bad, if you want to be recognized as tough or a real nigga, I got homeboys right now that we argue to this day when they start talking about who's tough and who was a punk, who's soft. And I'm like, man, we're about 50 years old. Or they want to talk about when they proved themselves when we were younger, who was scared of them, such and such scared. And I'm like, look, man, you talking about stuff from 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And so that let me know that really and truly they wanted to be recognized as somebody that is not to be played with. Even though they may not have got the respect from everybody that they wanted it from. So now that is still that issue. It's to still talk about who was tough, who wasn't tough, who would do this, who would do that, the street credibility type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, you know, in the process of trying to gain that street credibility, you probably sold a lot of crack to some people that right now, these children are adults. They might remember you. Yeah. They might not remember you, but when you see them, do you think to yourself, man, I remember when I took food out of their mouth. I see myself every now and then looking at these young guys and these young girls, and I know who their moms are, and I be like, man, I wonder how they would feel if they knew I treated their mama like that. I know they don't know nothing about me because they didn't even exist at that point in time. But at the same time, when you see these people, or you, I mean, you just look at them and you grow and watch them, and you just be like, man, did I actually do the person that they love that way? So I mean, you know, like I said, man, sometimes you sit back and you get a guilty conscience and unloading that luggage, but that's what comes with maturity.
That's good. That's good. VP, what do you say to that, man? What's when you have to unload, when you unpack that luggage? You bring that luggage in the house, and you know it's time for you to put it down. And you have to unpack that luggage and go through the experience of what happened at that particular time. You pretty much relive it. What is that like? Come on, man.
I was trying to think of one for my drinking, and I don't have one because I ain't never been a blackout drunk. That's how good I was. However, I will say just on the drinking part, when you outgrow it, as Rico was saying, that you get older and you don't want that identity no more, that's a hard one to get over. It's a hard one to shed, because that's for so long people have seen you that way, and you don't want to even have that type of limelight on you anymore. Yet you it's hard to shake, and regardless of what it is, people will breathe it. You know, the temptations are strong, and people will bring it back like, hey man, you know, we did this and this, and all of a sudden you take a shot. You won't out drink them no more because you don't do it, but you know, you might go against what you believed in. I've never been a player. I've always been shy, so that game ain't never been with me. But I have been a manipulator.
Okay.
And even though I guess the biggest thing for me right now is with my oldest son is trying to figure out how to reconnect in a relationship with him, because he's 17. He's about to be 17 next year. And I've only held him 3 times in his life.
Wow.
3 times in his life. So, but I can't blame that on his mama. That's on me being a manipulator and not being the man I was supposed to be growing up. But you know, in the same sense, she wasn't foretelling and truthful as she could have been. That, you know, these last couple months being on this show has shown me that, you know, you could have been greater. You could have. It's your choice. You could have been better, and you allowed her to do you while you manipulated yourself to be something better, or to be the easy way out. And you and your truth moments. I don't even know why I answer your phone calls no more.
Hey, brother. Hey, to God be the glory, man.
But it is right. You know,
yes,
it is
sir. Yes, sir.
You have to take it and learn, and that's all what life is. If you don't take the things that hurt you and crush you, because that's what God said. You're a grape on the vine. You got to get picked. You got to get crushed. You got to get fermented, and then you'll ripen and be whatever he produced you to be. But you got to go through the pressing. If you don't go through the pressing, then you don't know. It's easy to always sit out there and say, let me get the sun, let me get the sun. But eventually you're going to rot out.
Good. That's good.
Thank you, son.
Sharon, let me I see I see your lips moving up there, but I can't hear you, Sharon. What's on your heart? Talk to me.
Now, I was just saying, wow. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It is hard sometimes accepting that truth for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard sometimes, looking the other way, wanting to do but not doing when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
other people. But I mean, it's just life. I mean, we live, we learn. It's what we
Mm-hmm.
decide we're gonna do with our life and where we're gonna take our life to, because there's so many different roads that we travel.
Exactly. Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open. Give us a call. We love to have your input. Sharon, question for you. Have you learned more looking back over the path of your life, looking in the rearview mirror? Would you say that you learned more from your victories or from your heartbreaks?
Mm, I would say my victories, because I've only had one heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, so I would have to say my victories, but the heartbreak was a big one. I decided that, at an early age that I was going to raise two sons by myself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not having that father, figure in their life, and then when he decided to show back, I built up a lot of animosity because
Mm-hmm.
it was after they got grown, later, then you want to come back and say daddy. And I couldn't accept the fact that, I'm the one that struggled without any help from you. And now you want to come back, daddy. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then with other areas in my life with things and choices that I made that I probably should have made a different choice. But once again, not putting myself first and putting somebody else ahead of me. So I just think that, we all have to look deep within ourselves and decide where
Mm-hmm.
I got choices I need to make right now, but I have a plan for in which I need to go, our plan to go to in order to get that done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, what do you say to that, man? Did you learn more from your victories or from your heartbreaks?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't know if I could associate heartbreaks with victories. You know what I'm saying? I maybe losses. I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot more losses than heartbreaks.
Mm-hmm.
But either way it goes, you know what I'm saying? Losing on the losing end or failing, I learned from both of them. Now,
Mm-hmm.
which one affected me the most? I probably held on to the losses more emotionally and
Mm-hmm.
appreciated the victories a lot less. They were probably more temporary. I put it to the way that excitement from winning, you probably
Mm-hmm.
take those for granted a little bit more. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You start looking at it and be like, well, okay, yeah, that was good and that was fun. On to the next. Unless you're one of those type of people that like to hang on to your little glory days or your one little victory that you did have. But for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, losses affect me more. I think I probably learned. I ain't gonna say I don't know if I learned more. Like I said, I think I learned equally, but I think I was affected more by the losses.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. And I would have to agree with you in regards to that. Because like the victories, they're there. You celebrate, but then you move on. But the loss, that hurt and that pain from that loss and that heartbreak, man, it carries you for a minute.
The disappointment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Leonard Jones calling from Covington, Georgia, Mr. Oshman.
What's Captain Leonard? What's going on with you, sir?
Man, nothing much. I just seen you pop up. I had saw you pop up, and I just wanted to call in, check out, see what you guys are talking about.
Man, we talking about it's no longer my luggage. Got to put it down. And when situations happen in your life, man, how do you know when to put it down and walk away?
Oh man, I ain't got nothing but clean drawers with me. Don't care nothing but clean drawers, bro.
Lord, Lord, Lord. Go ahead. That's Leonard. That's Leonard Jones. Yes, that's Leonard Jones. That's Captain Leonard. But see, a lot of time, Leonard, people hold on to situations or stay in situations longer than what they should. And it might not be a personal testimony of yours, but I'm sure you've seen where people stay in situations and you ask them, why are you still there? Why are you still in that situation?
Right.
Why don't you just leave?
Me and my wife, we talk about that often
Mm-hmm.
because we've been together. We've been married 22 years, been together about 20, 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
And even before, we set boundaries, man,
Mm-hmm.
and standards for the relationship. So, you know, I have a lot of security in my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things that we have gone through, sure, we have had some just life struggles with health,
Mm-hmm.
finances, you name it. But guess what, man? It's all behind us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what, it does not matter what happened. I just had, you know, sometimes people have to remind me, you know, it's a major life surgery, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Dude, that's over with.
Mm-hmm.
That's over with. I
Mm-hmm.
got to worry about today and tomorrow. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't like people say, well, man, you need to sit down and you need to take it easy or take it easy to win. Till 2 or 3 years pass by, my same excuse for sitting on my behind is because I had surgery 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
You
it.
know, God gives you a reasonable portion of your health and strength to use.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever may happen, you still have to get up and keep. I know it's for a lot of people, they want to hang on to it. One of my favorite songs by Erykah Badu, and I used to listen to it all the time, Bag Lady,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how that was telling women about you gonna miss out because you carrying too much stuff.
Yep. Yep.
You know, have you ever seen somebody running to get on a train or a bus, but they got so much stuff till they don't miss that train or bus?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some stuff you just don't need to take with you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
even need it. I mean, I remember I come out of a relationship. You know what? I ain't want nothing but my last name, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You take that car. Yeah, I don't. God give it to me one time. I guess what He gonna give it to me again.
Come on. Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
whatever it was, that's what it like with Abram. Abram said, "I tell you what, you can come up with every kind of plan. Think you're gonna take the best goats and the best. Take what it is you want and go your way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guarantee you, what goes my way, God is gonna bless.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then
that's how I look at it.
let
I'm
me say
going
this to
where
you,
the
Leonard.
blessing is at.
And then I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I don't know if you know it or not, brother, but you're speaking to somebody right now. You're speaking to somebody. You're speaking directly into somebody's heart right now. Go ahead.
You got to move towards the blessings of God.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit there and keep turning around on that same stuff that kept you stagnant, that made you feel bad, that
Mm-hmm.
kept you feeling a certain way about yourself when the blessing is ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that blessing is not behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to bet all my money it's not behind you.
Good deal.
If you
Good
was
deal.
to keep going
Mm-hmm.
forward, take a few more steps forward, you will find a whole new life.
Mm-hmm.
A life that you never imagined.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not a rich man by no means. Don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's a blessing to be able to sit in my home and not have to worry about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when all I had was a backpack, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I put that backpack on my back and I kept going forward towards the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what God told Abraham. I know you had this, you had that. Abraham wasn't no Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. All he said was, you know what? I'm going to try God and try what God's talking about. And I guarantee you, if you try what God is talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be so much better than what's behind you.
And then you said something just then, man. You said that he wasn't a Christian. A lot of time, us church folk, and I say it like that, say that God ain't gonna, if you're not a Christian, God ain't gonna bless you. God ain't gonna bless you if you ain't a Christian. And that's what they want. And I hate to say it like this, but that's what they want you to believe, that you have to be up under that umbrella of being a Christian for God to bless you. No, God bless you because you're his child and he loves you. Sharon, talk to me.
People will try to tell you that you got to do this and got to do that and you got to go through this. I say, tell you what, God will change your life in a day.
Yes. Yes.
A moment.
Blink of an eye.
You could have been smoking crack 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And God just say, leave it alone.
Yep. Yep.
And your whole life changed. A lot of people don't believe in that type of miracle. You know how some people say it's a miracle. It's truly a miracle when you didn't see no way out, couldn't nobody explain to you how to get out or whatever, but all of a sudden you was out.
Exactly. Exactly. Hold on, preacher. Hold on, preacher. Stay right there for a minute. Sharon, what's on your heart?
I just believe that, sometimes you just got to step out on faith. You got to believe yourself and know that the hard is get, because it's going to be hard, that you have to keep striving for the best for you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico?
I agree. That was the main word that's been flashing through my head the whole time is faith and hope. You know what I'm saying? You got to still have hope and believe, because sometimes if you give up hope, then that will leave you sort of grabbing for that old luggage or that glory day, that old stuff. But see, with hope, you'll continue to put one foot in front of the other one. With hope, you'll continue to try to set goals and accomplish those goals. So when you think about that, like what Leonard said about, to me, I'm gonna sum that up with saying progress, success. I said success earlier. When you successfully achieve goals, then that sort of builds that positive momentum towards you helping to get rid of that luggage, not to suppress it, but just to move on from it, to understand that you still can. You still can do whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So accomplishing some goals, setting the goals and accomplishing them, and progressing, growth. Like I said, with maturing, I didn't just mean maturing mentally. I meant growth, period. Just growing as mentally and financially, growing with the type of life that you're living. So I mean, those type of things I believe are what is necessary to get past that luggage. But the key thing to me is still having hope and faith. If you got hope, then it's easier for you to make the effort to accomplish another goal. But if you don't have hope, then you thinking, what's the use? I ain't got no goals. I done gave up. I ain't got no more hope. So I like when Obama ran and he said that about the audacity of hope. Ain't that what it was?
Yeah, exactly.
And that was very key. I mean, out of all people, just think, some people thought we would never see a black president in our lifetime.
Come on.
But out of what we happened to witness, it was proven to be wrong, and he had hope. He probably felt the same way, man. They'll never let me president. But look what the United States did. So that really shows you that regardless of your baggage or your luggage, I'm not gonna say regardless, because some things you can't come back from.
Come on, say it.
Some things you can't come back from. So you can't go out here and molest children or kill them or make snuff films or I was looking at that show last night. I was telling you about kids behind bars. These guys found a man on a camping ground and just killed him with his own guns for no reason, and then went back and forth later on, taking friends out there to show them what they had done and peeing on them. Drinking beer and peeing on this, celebrating, having a good time, desecrating his grave. And now somebody wants to come back from that. Now you can grow personally. You can grow in prison and achieve. I'm gonna say turn around. You can't turn around that damage, but you can encourage people to be better. You can do good deeds. They'll never make up for that luggage from the past of you killing that person or doing whatever you did. But what you can do is from that point forward, try to do your best to be a positive influence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. VP, talk to me, brother. We got a few more minutes before we get out of here. What's on your heart?
No, I was going to say it's always good to hear from Dr. Reverend Senator Leonard. I like hearing from him.
You gave that brother a lot of titles this year, brother. You gave him a lot of titles.
Just piggybacking on off what Rico was saying, bit off of what Leonard was saying. It might have been Rico. the faith, hope, and love in the word. That at the end of everything, that's the last things that's left that's God looking for. How much faith you had, how much of that faith that you put your hope into, and the love that you spread doing it. If whatever you do in your life ain't gonna do those three things, you're failing yourself. And you're gonna fail everybody around you. Because you've already lost when you started. That's a tough race to win. In my quick reference.
Good deal. Well, it is straight up and down 7 o'clock time for us to get out of here, man. We might need to do a part 2 about this luggage thing, man. We might need to, because there's a lot more stuff that we can actually talk about in regards to this luggage. Sharon, what's on your heart before we get out of here?
I mean, my thing is believe in yourself. Don't do yourself and let yourself grow. Because if you don't allow yourself to grow, you're gonna always fail. Quit worrying about what everybody else think and worry about what you need to do for you.
And sometimes, hold on, before I say that, Leonard, anything on your heart before we get out of here?
Man, I just wanted to call in and just speak to everyone. And I just seen your show, man. Blessings to everybody. And don't give up on yourself, man. You be your biggest cheerleader. If don't nobody else say you can do it, you keep saying you can do it.
Exactly. See, now I'm going to say something, but you just stole my words, man. I knew I should have came back to you, man. I knew I should have came back to you. VP, before we get out of here quickly, brother, and Rico, coming to you next. Anything on your heart before we get out of here? You good?
No, so that's good. Yes, sir.
All right. Rico?
Man, you did the same thing to me too. I definitely was gonna say, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Exactly. So you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing else to be said, man. Just keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, and just know that as long as you got breath in your body, and you are conscious enough to wake up every day and know that you could think about that luggage, you could think about something positive. You can do something about it.
Good deal. Captain Leonard.
Sir.
Pray us out, sir.
Father in heaven, we thank you for another day, another breath, another moment to tell somebody about the God that we serve and how faithful and how trusting a friend that you are. We hope that someone that heard us this evening is motivated to reach out for you to try to build that relationship. These and other blessings we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Man, look at somebody said something. Let's see what somebody said. That's what happened when I got the I guess listen, it's 7:02, man. The 7:02 has been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK and Media Group and associates and Only One Truth to be a part of your evening. It is now 7:02. You're about to exit Only One Truth, but before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. We shine some of this light in you from Only One Truth. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Love you, and stay blessed.